Thanks for staying with us. So another story caught our attention about a man who isn't afraid that his brothers take over all his properties when he dies. He said that he's afraid that if his wife finds love again, her new husband will have access to all his properties, and he'd rather that not happen. So our conversation here is, how do we understand how to secure our husband's properties in the case where they pass on? And we'll be having a lawyer who's going to give us some kind of education on this. So I think I have with us, let me get her name right, I have Mrs. Olukemi Eweje. She is a specialization at the estate succession planning, probate, and administration of estates. Welcome to the show, madam. Let me just...
Thank you.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So you are the principal partner, Median Legal, and your area of specialization is estate and succession planning, probate, and administration of estates. So you're the perfect person for this conversation, because in a situation where a woman loses her husband, or even a husband loses his wife, and where they die interstate, what happens? Because this person's tweet was quite important. He's saying that I would rather die, leave my property to my brothers, knowing that they will take care of my own children. Because if I leave it to my wife, she will remarry, and then all my property will go to some other man. And that's the fear of this man in particular. So let me hear your thoughts and reactions to this first before we go on.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me on. Well, I guess it's his personal prerogative what he wants with whatever he has left behind. But the truth is, if you have a family, you have your children and your wife or your spouse now, your thinking is not, oh, when I leave, I want to leave them at the mercy of some people. You want to think that to a large extent, you have a control over how things would happen when you're not there. So if you leave without leaving a plan at all, then your assets go into interstate. And for them to legally transact with your assets, they would have to obtain letters of administration. That is on one hand. When the letters are now obtained, you now talk about the method of distribution, who gets what, and how would that be determined. So most times, especially in this part of the world, it is your native law and custom that dictates what you would get. So imagine if your wife had all girls, and by your culture, female children, even though that has been abolished now by the Supreme Court, female children do not inherit. So you are saying in essence that, look, what I've left behind, I'm not leaving anything for my children. Let's even leave your wife now. Let's even focus on the children you brought into this world. And they don't get anything because in your wisdom, you believe that your brothers will do right by you. That, I think, is a bit selfish. Normally. Because you shouldn't assume that people will do what you want. Even the devil does not know the intentions of a man until it's been expressed. So you can't say that 100% your family will be taken care of. So for me, the tweet is coming from an ignorant point of view, because he believes that, well, they will do right by him. But if anything we've seen in all our lives is anything to go by, we know that people change when things of inheritance come up, whether you are educated or uneducated.
Okay, let me get a few more questions in for you.
So, I like the angle that you just took now, that it's quite ignorant, because I've seen situations where a man dies and the family members who were all lovey-dovey would suddenly change and become vipers because of property. How do you think we can begin to sensitize these men to understand that the only person who really has, a woman cannot abandon her child. Even the scripture says it. The only person who really has the interest of the children is the one who bore them. How do we start changing their mindset so that you won't be thinking of leaving property for your brothers and not your wife when you die because of your children?
Well, we can only educate them and tell them the consequences of these things. But this thing is so funny that you see it happen over and over and over again. So you witness one, there are a group of people there and they've seen, oh, look at how terribly they're treating this man's family. They don't live there going to do the right thing. They still leave everything, and then the same circle continues. So I think, the best we can do is to keep reiterating the point that you just need to have a plan. What's the essence of accumulating anything if your plan is not to secure your family, at least the immediate family that you have brought into this world when you are no longer there. So if you think that, oh yeah, my brothers, my sisters, or somebody is going to take care of them, then you're really setting yourself up for failure. Because if you can look at things from the other side when you leave this world, then you would regret it. And
but
say,
the risk this man expressed was that the wife will remarry, and then a new man takes over. Isn't that something? Can he protect himself from that?
But that's why you have a plan. So if your fear is that you don't want it to go to your wife's new husband, the same way women fear that if they leave anything, their husbands will marry and share it with somebody else. Then you plan for your children. What he's in essence saying is that he knows his brothers will take care of his children, not even his wife, except they inherit his wife, because under some cultures, some women are inherited. So you're saying that I want to leave something, whatever I leave, I want it for my children. Now, we've seen places where people are even in their wills, they say, I leave it to my wife for her lifetime if she does not remarry. Exactly. Where she remarries, it goes to my children. So there are mechanisms to put in place if your fear is that, oh, you don't want her to share it with some other man. But I think if the interest of your children is what you have at heart, then you would ensure that you couch it in such a way that it secures your children even after your wife decides to move on with her life one way or another. Right. You cannot say, oh, because she was married. It says till death do us part. So death has come and you are parted. She is free to go on with her life, the same way you are free to go on with your life if it was the woman that passed on. But then secure your children, and there are different means of doing that. You can do that in a will. You can do that with a trust.
Right. Let me get a scheme of.
There's so many ways.
So technically, I understand you sort of answered the question, which is putting in clause to cover the period of if she remarries, or specifically designating the will to the children and then providing funds for the wife while she's single. Is it possible that in cases where the wife is willed to the brother, is there anything a woman can do in that case legally to ensure that she's not willed like a property, or if the clause is attaching her stipend from the will to being single and she wants to marry, what is the legal frame for her to still have stake in the property even if she gets married? Is it possible?
Okay, so, because the thing about the position of assets is your personal desire, and it's what you wish to do. So it's something I have accumulated. It's something I determine how I distribute. If, to me, I believe that, look, the only reason why I'll leave anything for you is if you stay unmarried and just take care of the children. I don't think, either way you should be fighting that, because if, for example, we built this house together and you want to leave it, if you die and we jointly own it, it becomes mine automatically. Yeah. So that is even out of it. If it is something you have worked for solely, like some investment you have, let's say you have 100 million somewhere, and you're saying that, look, every month give my wife 1 million naira. However, once she gets married, that 1 million naira should now go to my children. I think that's a fair position. I don't think you're saying that, oh, you want to move on with your life and still, it's more emotional and sentimental than any legal framework. Okay. It has nothing to do with what the law says. The law cannot compel a person to give. In fact, the law cannot compel the man to leave anything for his wife or his children. That's the truth. Because if you write a will and say, I'm not giving any of my family members anything, I'm leaving it to charity, that's what's going to be upheld. Nobody's really going to, except they say, oh, the man was not of a sound mind, or there was some undue influence. But if he was in his right frame of mind and wrote a will and said, I'm not leaving anything to anybody, that is what will be upheld. Okay. So it's just a desire. Yeah.
All right.
So, for the purpose of information, I'd like you to talk about children outside wedlock. So let's assume a man has a child before he marries, or while married has a child, and because of status wants to provide for that child, but not within the will. What can he do while he's alive? Other forms of instrument that he can do while he's alive to provide for that child, so that we don't have conflict of Marriage Act and all of that, where the wife says, everything is mine.
Well, even where there is a child out of wedlock and the man dies intestate, the child is also entitled to inherit from the assets of the father. There is nothing like an illegitimate child. The law does not recognize it. The Constitution frowns against it. So you cannot discriminate a child because of the circumstances of their birth. That has long since been abolished in this country and most developed countries. So the fact that the child was born out of wedlock and you can provide for the child in your will. What I have a problem with personally that I try to advise against is if you have not brought this child out in your lifetime, there is no need springing surprises on your family when you are not there because you are not bold enough to do it anyway. Have a separate plan, e.g., set up a trust for the child, appoint a guardian or transfer assets to the guardian of the child so that they hold it in trust for the child until the child is of age. That's where the child is a minor. Where the child is not a minor, just give the child what you will give the child. Leave your immediate family that you are not bold enough to tell that you have a family out of it, so that we're not all sitting down somewhere one day and they're reading a will and they say, to my son or to my daughter that I gave birth to 10 years ago with XYZ, and they were hearing for the first time that you have another family or you have another child. So you can do that quietly. But if, of course, everybody knows, oh, you have children with other people, all well and good, you introduce it into your will and you give them what you will give them. In fact, where there is no will and you're filling the letters of intestate, that's when you're applying for the letters of administration. One of the questions there will be to list children born out of wedlock. And where these children are not listed, they can actually oppose your application because they are also entitled to inherit from the estate of their father.
Thank you very much. Let me go on.
So I hope that answers that question.
Yes, it does. It does. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing inheritance, and I think I'll let our guests go at this point. We'll be speaking with a principal partner, Median Legal, whose area specialty is in estate, succession planning, and probate administration of estates. Thank you so much, Madam, for joining us. Madam Oluwakemi Eweje. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. I'll let you go at this point.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, then. Thank you.
So I'm bringing the conversation back to the ladies because there are different perspectives. You know, we've heard from the lawyer. We know what is legally obtainable. But there's a perspective that I worked as a man all through my life. I've worked successfully for like about maybe 15 years or 10 to 15 years. And I have a house. I have cars. I have shares. I have this. I have that. And then now that I'm settled, I bring in my wife and I marry her. And within 2 years, I die. Now, the family is saying, the family who has supported me, sent me to school, maybe my brother gave me a loan and I started, or my sister gave me something, and they saw me work all through these years and build this industry. Suddenly, you married, the wife dies within 2 years, and they say everything you worked for goes to her. That's the bone of contention. Hey, well, that's the emotional element that the law maybe doesn't recognize. And that's what I want us to discuss. Do you therefore feel that a woman in that situation should take everything, possibly then remarry, and then this new husband would have access to what this man worked for? So the family feels cheated. We supported this man to the point where he is. Why, therefore, shouldn't that property come to us so that we can make sure the kids are fine? That's the emotional angle that I would like us to touch on.
So yes. There are two that I've experienced personally. My auntie inherited an estate from one of her husbands because of the only child he had. She had other children. But the only child that man had before he died was the child she had for him. And so he left his entire estate to her, hoping that the best of life would be given to his child. That's not the story today. Now, a woman worked all her life with the support of her family to acquire wealth, but she was childless. And as soon as she dies, the man says, she married me under the act, takes everything, and her aged mother is just looking. So those two things will not let me be emotional, but calculative about everything that you do. I don't like to control what is outside my control. So what happens after I die is maybe out of my control. But I do not want to die and see my loved ones, which includes my own family, aside my children now. Yeah. My mother, my father, my siblings.
Left to suffer.
That's the way, should not be left to suffer just because I married somebody. So you have to put it in writing. That's the bias that we have under the law, under the Marriage Act, because your husband becomes next of kin, and if you do not leave a testament, the man just becomes your next of kin, and to the exclusion of every other person. Right. So those people now have to be the ones appearing before court to either contest these applications or say, okay, we're also dependent on looking for other sections.
All right, so let me come to the ladies here. I don't know if BBC want to take this one, because so as a wife, you feel I've been married to him 2 years. In these 2 years, I bought him 3 children, maybe 1 set of twins, and I have 3 kids. I have the authority. The constitutional authority to take everything from him, even regardless. In that situation, how would you handle it?
So I think we all need to be fair to one another. She has handled the aspect of this one. But there's another scenario where you started from the scratch with this particular man. You people built everything you have together. And now he's worried that after he dies, he will leave you to inherit what you built together. And that is why people say, as a woman, make sure you have your own thing. Because anything can happen. You can never predict the heart of a man. Anything can happen and they say, okay, I want to give this to my family, forgetting that you labored. Because everything you bore, everything you people have came from the union of you two. Even if you were a full-time housewife, if you did not give him that peace, he wouldn't go out and make that money. So that is another scenario where women need to now begin to protect
that first scenario.
themselves. So their first scenario is simple. You said, so for me.
As a 2-year-old wife, what would you do?
So for me, as a 2-year-old wife, I know that I did not build whatever you had. I came and met some things. Okay. So whatever the law or the will says to me, I'll be okay with it. I don't have a problem. Whatever share you want to give to me, I will not drag, because I know I just came and I did not work with you. My problem will be where we started from the scratch, like I have started now. That is where I'll put my foot down and fight that fight. But if I had come in and you had built your wealth, I'm not calculating those ones amongst the things I have brought in. So I'll be lenient and understanding enough to say, okay, whatever I get is fine.
Okay, so here I want to give kudos to fathers who raise strong daughters. Growing up, my dad will always say, I do not have money to give to you, but you know school, you're going to go to school. You're going to be strong. And, he just keeps putting that in your head. Now, bad things happen. You are a young woman. Let's say you've gone to school, did all the things your father asked you to go, and you go into marriage. 2 years, your husband is gone. You're married into a very wealthy family, and I'm sure, hopefully, when you were coming there, you knew that you did not bring anything there. If he decides, because dead people, they can't do anything. He decides that he makes an arrangement for his brothers to take everything, forgetting that you have kids for him. Let him just go to the judgment gate. And receive his judgment. Take your kids.
And take care of yourself.
And take care of yourself. That's why you have to be strong before you go into any marriage. Properties,
not a big deal.
Something that will still get spoiled, something that everybody will still die and leave. No, I want to go there as a strong woman. Now, if you now decide that you want to give to me, fine. But you see, when we build it together, that's where we have a problem. That is where we have a problem. I like fairness.
Yes.
Like, if we built it together.
But as a legal wife, I'll come to it away. As a legal wife, you can contest it. You take everything. Yes. Even if you are just 2-year-old. As a legal wife, I can contest it.
Let's be fair.
A will that they wrote.
That you...
That's...
Sorry, so let me take that again, okay? If I'm a 2-year-old wife and the family is coming saying, no, she cannot collect it.
She has not born child.
She has not even born child.
She has not worked.
She doesn't work. She doesn't own this property. Can me as a wife contest it and get that property?
Are we talking of the property that the man owned before I came in? Let's assume the man was a businessman, independent of family members. He made his wealth on his own.
No, you can't know independent.
Just like you said, it is your personal property. Only you have the right to disburse it how you want. If the man chooses to write a will to give his wife, family can't contest. And if he chooses to write a will to give his family, unfortunate for wife.
Right. True.
Because once he leaves it as an instruction, his last wish and testament, that's it.
Yes, so that's why I believe that it's very important for people to write wills and for us to be not sentimental about our wills. So for me, the original story of this man, you shouldn't believe that at any point in time, your your children will be better off with your brother than your wife. It means that the marriage itself had issues. There wasn't trust in that marriage from the get-go. That you did not trust your wife to take care of your children, but you trust your brothers to take care of your children more than the mother of the child. If it is like if it's a blended family where there are other children from other women, I can even understand, but there is all shades of lack of trust in that. Now, specific story of the scenario that Murayo painted, which is maybe a new wife of 2 years wasn't there with the man all through the hustling stage. I feel that many people don't even update their will. You know, many people don't check on these things. So maybe you write a will and 5 years, circumstances have changed. We need to always update and ensure. Will is not that you're preparing to die. Will is that you are preparing the best life after anything happens to you. So for me, the woman shouldn't contest. Have the strength to move on. And another thing I would say is families should be fair. So even if they give the entire thing to the family and say family alone, enjoy the property, the family knows that this woman has been in this household for 2 years. If she was a good woman, they would protect her. They should protect her and give her something from the properties.
What does we build together mean? Let's define it. What does it mean? What does we build it together? Because you're a man, you're single. It's your job to bring in a wife. So she's there. Maybe she doesn't work and she doesn't want to work or something.
Let me define build.
So how do we build together? I can contest it that we didn't build this thing together because the idea of the business is mine. I did the contract myself. You were home, not. How do you define building together?
Okay, if you had started paying me, let me know I came to do a job for you now. I'm house help. Just employ me. Let me come. I'll be servicing you. I'll be taking care of your children. I'll be cleaning your house, and you pay me my due. As a graduate, I know how much I'll peg for that sort of job. So that if anything happens, I don't own anything. I'm working, and I have the right to save my money and use it how I want and build my own. Because you are taking somebody's life. We're in this together. You didn't have anything when we started. You had a job, I had a job. We're pulling resources together.
That's what working together
whether you're doing business or not, I'm working in an office or not, we're building together. We are growing our economy together. So that's the meaning of building together. So, even if I did not work and I was a full-time housewife, and I was taking care of the children, the peace you have, cooking the food for you to eat, planning the meals. Right now, I have headache thinking of what will Oga eat today that he will not complain. It's a lot of work on me. And I do that for years, helping you to grow and be fruitful, praying for you. You say I did not contribute.
Praying for you.
But what is it? Why is a man, I'll come to our caller in a second. Why is a man afraid of his wealth going to another man? That's the question I want us to discuss.
Let's not go there.
Good morning, Ade. Are you there? In the UK. Hello? Hello, Ade, you're live. Hello? Oh, I really want to hear.
No.
Hello, Ade, are you there?
No.
I think we lost that call.
There's hope for, I wanted to say when talk earlier, there's hope for a woman who's young in marriage and the husband had a will.
Hello?
That he didn't
update.
Ade,
are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we've been trying to reach you. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
We can hear you very clearly. Please go ahead. Okay, go ahead, Nima. You're saying.
So they had the will that he did not update. Let's assume that she's a young wife and then she has a small child. Go under the administration of estates law, I think in Lagos, but I know I'm certain of that for Kwara, and show that you're dependent on that man. Family members cannot say you're a stranger, go and say no more because your husband has died. They must provide for you your maintenance, and the court will then declare that under that act. But for building together, there are funny ways in the precedents that we have that the courts have decided that for some women, just being peace
at home
and taking care of children. In some funny cases, we've seen them getting judgment. Some, you must show that you advance, that your husband's means at the time of starting the business, either you were contributing with yourself or with your money, as your means, adding your own support to that business to show that you build together. You don't just build together by being in a person's life.
My question, Nima, when you say I love you, I love a woman, to return, and I love you totally and completely, and I marry you. Sometimes then, unfortunately, the person now dies. Why are you afraid that her new husband will take your property? Why is that a problem for you as a man?
The woman you love is not your husband.
See,
it's the woman you love is not your husband.
No man wants. No man is hoping.
But that new husband makes her happy. Makes the woman you love very happy.
So the ideal situation is that if a man has died, he has moved on. He should just, let's even say, why would this happen? Is maybe a man is already sick, or he's been told that he's going to die. So he would not have time to put his will together. But if a sudden death situation happens, or maybe an older man marries a younger woman, of course the old man does not want, he knows that the woman married him for money or something, and he does not want you to now take the wealth that I've hustled for to another man. It's part of the jealousy, it's part of the ego, it's part of the pride that a man has. They don't want to share. Men don't like sharing. It's the same way they are against. It's the same way they are against you cheating or something happening. So in their mind, I own you, you are mine for life. Now, in that case, there's a case of will to say it will not go to the other man. And I think it is right. Every man should hustle and face his own.
Okay, let me come to Gina on this.
Yeah, so I still think, I said in that first case, that we humans really need to work on ourselves. Yeah. Why am I worried about what's going to happen after I am not there?
Beyond your control.
It's beyond. I should even have gone to the heavenlies. We are singing hallelujah upstairs. You focus on the hallelujah. You downstairs, take care of yourselves. You understand? The most important thing to me then is, now these people that I call my loved ones, how are you faring? How happy are you now? If I was a man and I feel like my wife will be happier, at least there should be someone who will take care of her if she wants to. That shouldn't be my problem in heaven.
But your property that you work for will now go to that man. Is that okay with you?
Why didn't you take your property when you were going to heaven?
Gina, I disagree.
No. Let me come to this.
Men
and your children
naturally selfish, very selfish, and that part of till death do us part, they don't hear that part when they are married. They remove that part in their own mind. Till death do us together everywhere I am. So if you remarry after they are gone, they have a problem. If they are not having the problem through spiritual attack, the family members are having the problem. But when they die, or when you die, and
2 weeks,
2 months, 2 years. Hey, men they don't survive. They don't survive when there's no woman. They will give. If they don't want, family will bring a woman for them. Yeah. They are not bothered about how will my wife in heaven feel that I have somebody now, Kwanji my Congo. How do they feel? They are very selfish. That's just the thing. So because I'm wondering how. I remember I was having a conversation recently, and I was saying to my husband, I said, you are a very good man. You have been an amazing husband to me. If God tells me that I will go first before you, I'll say, give me time. Let me find a proper babe that will take care of you, because I don't want you to suffer. I don't want you to feel bad. He was upset that I even mentioned that kind of thing. Do you know what he now said? So you are thinking that if I go first, you will not get somebody that was how I was now apologizing for weeks. No, I'm trying to take care of you. No, he took it the other way. So men are naturally selfish. That's where it goes.
So you guys see we need to understand how much trouble we have as women.
We need to understand that when you are gone, you are gone. What happens after you're gone shouldn't be any of your business. Just do the best you can when you have life.
It is. To some extent, it should be. My late dad used to say that until I'm done giving you all what I need to do. And fortunately, before he died, his last born, everybody was already doing well. It is that place that you have peace of mind to say you cannot control. I'm sure that you will not want to die and leave your children less than 18 or even less than a certain age, helpless because of some indecisions or some wrong decisions that you took. So, Madam cannot carry my suffer to marry another man. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Let's even assume that we work the work together. You cannot just move on when because the goal is that I don't want to leave my dependents helpless.
They don't die. Don't die.
So you put that's what you use an instrument.
You cannot die and be fighting when you're not there.
No, you have to protect your dependents. The man that marries a woman.
I can't hear anybody anymore.
Okay.
The man that marries a woman, if you have married and you have a property that you have acquired together, you can't transfer to another man you just married. The man should face his own and build his own.
Okay, my own question is, why do people think, or why do they think if the woman marries another person, she's throwing her children away?
Because
That's
sometimes
one.
it happens.
Women, see, I just told you my auntie now.
Why
I tell you person story.
It happens.
Wait, why don't you think she might be marrying that person for more protection
For her children.
Yeah, but it
I told you
happens. There are many cases.
That's another angle.
A woman, a widow woman, is vulnerable, just as a man. And at that point, anybody can be calculative and say, okay, you have an estate at your beck and call, and then act nice and all of that.
And because
But
of love, I
anything
give
can
it
go
to you.
wrong. If you know you're not married to a strong woman, strong-headed woman, provide instruments for your children.
Yeah.
Education, trust, insurance, and all of that. Life insurance. Make sure that you put your children's name.
Yeah,
Don't allow your wife
We have to say, unfortunately, we have to say, let me let Gina have the final word.
I think the final word is, women, you have to be strong. Allow your husband trust you enough. Let him see what you can do, the things you can do on your own.
Right.
That way, maybe if he's dying, he will sleep well and just join the angels. But you understand?
On that note, tell us what you're working on.
Okay, yeah, so the Foodaholic Festival, December 11th. Foodaholic Festival is a food festival for the whole family. 11th December at OBC Kano Park. Yeah, there are a lot of food vendors there, brand sampling, fantastic games, team competitions, cooking competitions.
Wow.
It's packed full for the family.
So come hungry.
Whole day. Come hungry. Come hungry.
And come
Yeah,
with
because
Clear your stomach.
and bring a card, I'll carry you back. Yeah, so please, I would like to see everybody there. Yeah,
We'll be there.
come with your family and friends.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I hope you've learned a few things as we have in the first case. What was our first topic again? The car matter.
Man that can even
Please,
manage.
know the husband you are marrying. If you have find if your husband is the calm one, collect all the gifts from your family. If you want to pay a strong ego, they chase him. Just calm
Take him
down.
to therapy.
Gradually walk at his pace and pray to God that God will give acceleration. But just walk at your husband's pace, please. And then on this part, please, inheritance. Take care of your dependents. I think that's what I think. No matter what position you're in, take care of your dependents. That's the most important thing. Have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.